Copeland.
Here. Mr. Manager.
Yes, Commissioners, we have one work session item tonight, and that's Charlie Patterson, our esteemed Health Commissioner, is going to give an update on the Tobacco 21 initiative and specifically the licensing program that was put into place about 18 months ago, a year ago?
Actually, it went into effect last January.
Yeah, so a little over a year.
A little over a year. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. I just wanted to remind you of a very important act that you took about 18 months ago, and it went into effect January 1st, 2022. It was our local tobacco retail license ordinance. As you may or may not remember, October 17th of 2019 in Ohio, it became illegal for anyone under 21 years of age to buy or possess tobacco or tobacco-related products, such as vape and vape material. This was a very important move by the state of Ohio to make sure that we would lessen the chances of people becoming lifetime smokers or lifetime tobacco users. The research is very clear that for every year that someone holds off initiating tobacco or nicotine usage, there is a much less likely chance that they will become users for a lifetime. And we're all, we all understand the Surgeon General's warning about smoking and being hazardous to your health, as well as vaping products. This commission took action in 2021 to be effective in 2022. The state does not have a lot of people out there actually enforcing what we call T21, which is Tobacco 21 across the state. So this commission put an ordinance in place that would require tobacco retailers to be licensed and to be checked. The main reason for coming before you today is to give you an overview of the responses that we got when we actually sent underage agents into all of our tobacco and nicotine licensed facilities in the city of Springfield. We had 84 retail license holders, and 29 of those retail licensors sold to our underage buyers. So quick math is 34.5%. That's 1 out of 3 of these retailers actually sold to people less than age of 21. I'd like to use this as an opportunity to educate the public that, in fact, in the state of Ohio, it is not legal for someone less than 21 years of age to possess or buy vaping or cigarettes. And so we need to make sure that people understand that a lot of folks out there really don't understand that that's the law in Ohio. We have the opportunity. We will be going back to the retailers who sold again in the next 3 months to recheck them again. And we will also be, before the end of this calendar year, we will be doing another operation where we go into every single licensed retailer. There are probably a couple of tweaks that we need to make to this legislation. So also just giving you a heads up that we will be working with city staff over the next 6 to 8 months to see what tweaks could be put in that city legislation to make this an even better thing for the health of the people of Springfield. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. We really appreciate this report, and I'm very disappointed in the result. Frankly, with 34% or so of our folks not paying attention to the law of the land, and much less the health of our young people, that's very disappointing. And there are some big names on here, as well as some mom and pop operations. What is the current penalty for doing this?
So for the next offense, it would be $500 fine, which is it's not a criminal penalty, it's a civil penalty for those individuals that do this. And I think that's part of the changes that we might want to make is to clarify exactly whose responsibility that fine is. I would tell you that it's very unfortunate that you said of the names on the list that there are some very big names. I would tell you that they take it very seriously, and unfortunately, we had reports back because we sent notices to each one of the date and the time of the purchase, et cetera. Unfortunately, there were some people that lost their job because it is that important to some of these larger entities that they do not violate this. They are supposed to be a very well-trained staff, and they will not tolerate even one underage sale. And unfortunately, and we're certainly not about people losing jobs. We want everyone to be employed. And we know it's healthier if they're employed. But we do have a law in the books. It's a very reasonable law, and it's very easy to comply with. Ask for an ID, check the ID. If they don't have an ID or they're not 21 years of age, don't sell the product.
Well, that's promising that the larger corporations are in fact serious about this. And if there are things that we can do to fine tune the law to give it more impact, as a former smoker, I know how hard it was to quit. I started early in college and smoked for far too long. And so if we can keep some of our young people from starting the habit, this community will be much better served. So congratulations, continue the good work.
I think the importance of this, the difference between, I smoked for 11 years too, but it was just cigarettes, and I had to make a conscious decision, but kids are being catered to. There's fruity flavors of vaping, and the addiction comes hard and fast and stays that way, and it's very hard to get rid of. And underdeveloped lungs can be very much affected by vaping, and so I definitely support what's happening here. I am curious how these figures stacked up to other communities after a year of this in place. I mean, were other communities facing similar percentages of failures and things like that with businesses?
Actually, unfortunately, in other areas, they see very similar non-compliance, and that's
Similar
why
percentage?
the compliance checks are so important for us to continue to follow up with. We don't even want to charge for the licenses, but we have to be able to fund the program,
Right.
and the monies we get barely pays for the underage folks to go out there. Unfortunately, we spent almost $400 in the purchases of vaping and cigarettes during that period of time. So that money has to come out of the program too before those things then get destroyed.
I
Thank
think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank you and the health district and the employees and staff for taking on this challenge. That's what changed back in January was it shifted, as I recall, from the police division to the health district where I think it appropriately belongs. So thank you for your leadership on this, Charlie, and thank the staff for their willingness to step forward and help address this issue.
I appreciate that, Commissioner, and I would tell you special thanks goes out to our three underage buyers. I would tell you they were scared to death to go out there. In fact, we did reach out to Chief and let her staff know that we would be out there. They would have IDs in the car, so that they were afraid they were going to get in trouble. And we're like, it's okay, we've got this covered.
So just really quickly, if someone, because I had a parent approach me of a middle school student that reported a site, and it is the BP on Main Street. So the parents are stating to me that students are going in there and just buying it up. So in one middle school that I currently serve, it is constant concern within that space with vapes and things of that nature. If I have additional parent requests or reports like that, who could I send them to?
Please send them to us.
Okay.
We will, if they're not already on our non-compliance list,
Gotcha.
we'll make sure that they're at the top of that as we do rechecks, because we really need to make sure. I mean, we had 19 and 20-year-olds going out there. we certainly didn't have middle school age children going out there to buy.
I've had a parent state that they've took several parents into that store to confront the owner about the sale to the students of that specific school. So it may be, I'm glad to see that they're highlighted there on the list. Thank you.
Anything else from Commission?
Commissioners, that is the only work session item tonight. We do have a public hearing and then a proclamation.
Yeah, public hearing will come to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop,
Here.
Mr. O'Neill,
Here.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Here.
Mr. Copeland,
Here. Has proper legal notice been given to this hearing?
I can get it to open. Yes, I will. Notice of a public hearing for the purpose of considering the proposed vacation of the first alley north of Edwards Avenue from Henry Street to the north right-of-way line of the DT&I Railroad was published in the Springfield News and Sun, a newspaper of general circulation within the city. Attached here too are true and correct copies of the legal notices published on February 1 and February 8, 2023.
I move that the communication be ordered received, recorded in the minutes, and filed.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue? Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Staff report.
Good evening, everyone. The applicant is wishing to vacate the public alleyway as shown on slide, highlighted in yellow. The alley has not been used by public and is overgrown. Upon vacation, the applicant has plans to make use of the adjacent lot and may combine the parcels. Return reports from staff state no objection and recommend approval. Return reports from utility companies recommend approval with spectrum requiring easement access. The request, if approved, will provide the applicant with yard space. However, due to an easement, there will be limitations in installation of fencing and the easement cannot be blocked. Staff recommends approval of applicant's request. The request was recommended for approval by the planning board and there were no objections at the city planning board meeting. Staff received a call from a neighbor inquiring about the location of the alleyway, but there were no objections received. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the commission?
Were there any objections received after the meetings were held?
There were no objections.
Thank you.
Else? Anyone in the audience want to speak to this matter? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
While we wait 1 minute, I have a question. We heard a beep that interrupted our meeting. I think it's a significant beep, but I will defer to Mr. Heck, who may defer to the Fire and Police Division.
Yes, Commissioners, I heard the same beep, and I believe it's related to the new dispatch center that is being worked on today. The switch was flipped, per se, and they've been working through a number of issues and challenges as with any new software and major phone line change like that. And so I don't know if you want to add anything or just these are the updates that we continually get as a part of this and that the system is working towards going live officially. So.
Wonderful news, and I congratulate everyone, including the members of the commission and city staff, county, and others who worked to make this combination dispatch work. Thank you all very much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak, Mayor.
Now, good to
Totally.
I love basketball, and I'm sorry that all you great athletes are playing football instead of basketball. Maybe a few of you are
How
playing
many basketball players
too.
also?
But 2 years in a row, you went all the way to the finals. That's a significant achievement in and of itself. I know you wish you had won, probably both times, but certainly the second time. But we in Springfield are proud of you, what you've done. Any other commissioners want to speak?
I'm really proud of you guys. Hi, Dorian.
That's cheating. She knows names.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing I work at. I'm a teacher. Well, was a teacher.
I get to talk to parents and just the character stories that we hear back when you guys go to these high level games from player to player and other parents talking how you handle yourselves, how the coaching staff handles themselves. It's just really, it's amazing. And just couldn't be prouder to support Wildcats as they are going to continue this the victory to go back and crush them next year. Crush them
Period.
next year, right? You guys are awesome.
I just want to say congratulations. Boy, we've come a long way, and the credit belongs to the coaching staff, more importantly, to all of you who invested in the program and invested in winning and representing our community very, very well at the highest level of competition. And the community respects you and is proud of you and proud to have the name Springfield associated with all of you. Thank you very much for being part of a great community and making us proud. And thank you for all your hard work. Coach, it's always good to see you.
Like to say a word?
Come to the microphone. Come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
I just want to thank all of our coaches and players for their time and their commitment to the program and the things that they've done. Special thanks to Dr. E because he took a chance on me 9 years ago when I was coming from Trotwood. It was me and another guy that was a local guy up for the spot, and they ended up giving it to me, and they trusted these guys with me. And I thank you once again for the opportunity to be leader of this team and this program. If we can get y'all's help with getting some equipment, we greatly appreciate that. I'm about to put some paperwork out there now.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
about to put some paperwork out there. We're gonna have some things that are going out to try to make to raise some funds so we can raise our level up to another level to be able to compete with a St. Ed, those teams along the line. But thank y'all again, and I appreciate y'all having us down here. Already know what we got to do tomorrow.
Thanks,
We got
Mo.
work out.
Thank you very much.
So this is what's called a proclamation, and we've made one out for you folks. I will read it. Whereas this, well, better get my glasses. The print's a little too small for me. Whereas the Springfield High Wildcats football team finished its regular 2022 season with a 9-1 record, winning the Greater Western Ohio Conference title for 3 of the past 4 years. And whereas the Wildcats won the Division I, Region II title and the Final Four postseason tournament game, earning a seat to compete in the state championship. Hundreds of fans lined the streets of the city to cheer the Wildcats as they departed Springfield for a trip to north to Canton, home of the NFL Hall of Fame. And whereas this team finished their impressive season with a 13-2 record, and now holds the title of Springfield's first team in school history to play in the state championship game for 2 consecutive years. Whereas the Wildcat coaching staff consists of head coach Maurice Douglas, along with an impressive team of coaches who possess many years of combined experience. Now, therefore, I, Warren R. Copeland, Mayor of the City of Springfield, Ohio, and President of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim February 28, 2023 as Springfield Wildcat Football Team Day in Springfield, and urge citizens to recognize the coaches, football players, band, drill, team, cheerleaders, student trainers, and many others, supportive family members, community partners, alumni, and fans who shared this memorable season. In witness hereof, I have.
That was Crystal's
Go
fault.
ahead.
It's Crystal's fault, yeah.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I couldn't help it.
Take a picture together?
In witness hereof, I have subscribed my name and caused the official seal to be affixed this 28th day, February 80 AD 2023. And I've signed it, Mayor of Springfield, Ohio, and President of City Commission. Congratulations.
We'll actually ask if the team would come down here in front of the banner with the commissioners and present the proclamation, and we'll get a couple pictures.
Oh.
Players or somebody wants to.
Can't hear ya.
One of the players wants to put a hand on the proclamation with you.
There you go. Yeah.
Look up this way. I'll take a couple. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1 more. 3, 2.
I
When I was in Lakewood, we played 10 minutes, and they just buried us. Just buried us. Some guys were getting hurt.
You football players are welcome to stick around, but you can leave if you want to. Thanks for coming.
Some of them. Jack. Bye. Look, he, Mr. Bradley, if you can tap Jack, please. Yeah, Jack. Next to you. No, baby. Mr. Bradley, get Jack. Get Jimmy's cousin. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Miss Phillips. What is this?
I'll ask you that question.
Meeting of the City Commission is called to order. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrog?
Here?
Mr. O'Neill?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Rue?
Here.
Mr. Copeland?
Here. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Our God, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather this evening to make decisions for this community. Help us to do it well. Help us to act in such a way as to make people proud of their community, and help us to follow through on what we commit to. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrog?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. The clerk will proceed with first readings.
Vacating the first alley north of Edwards Avenue from Henry Street to the north right-of-way line of the DT&I Railroad. Approving general salary increases for non-bargaining unit employees pursuant to Section 175.03C of the codified ordinances of the City of Springfield, Ohio, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement such increases. Authorizing and directing the city manager to select certain identified parcels of real estate that constitute non-productive lands and to notify the prosecuting attorney or the county auditor of Clark County, Ohio, as the case may be, pursuant to sections 5722.03 and 5722.04 of the Ohio Revised Code, that the city wishes to acquire said parcels pursuant to the provisions of the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 5722, and ordinance number 98293, passed August 25th, 1998, and to do all things necessary to acquire said parcel. Confirming and approving an amendment to the contract with the Ohio Bell Telephone Company, doing business as AT&T Ohio, for a one-year extension in connection with certain telephone services for municipal purposes for an amount not to exceed $48,000. Authorizing an increase to the master services agreement with Verdantis LLC for professional consulting services to be used by various city departments for an amount not to exceed $603,193 for a total agreement amount not to exceed $618,139.
Are there any questions or comments on first readings? Yes.
I have a question about item 069-23, where the city is acquiring land. Which of our programs will this be used? Why are we buying this property?
Yeah, this is actually through the land reutilization, and this is, commissioners, related to the Mow-to-Own program.
Mow to
That
Own.
was established in 2016. This is 13 additional properties, and brings the total amount since 2016 for this program to 184 properties that have been transferred and put back into productive use by being adjoined with adjacent property owners that have taken care of.
Wondering if perhaps you or somebody from community development might just outline what the requirements are of that program again.
Yeah, I'll ask.
Because it, I think, has been a real success, and we've taken some nuisance properties off the rolls and made them beautiful additions to people's yards and for community use and the like. So,
Yeah, I'll ask Steve Thompson, our deputy director, to talk a little bit more about this specific Mow-to-Own program.
Sure. Good evening, commissioners. So to qualify for this program, a parcel has to be free of any structures and then be forfeited to state for lack of property tax payment. So if you're interested in one of these properties, as long as you live within 1,000 feet, are up to date on all of your income taxes, property taxes, etc., you can apply for the program for about $130. And after agreeing to mow and maintain it for 7 months, we can transfer that property to you without any of the back tax.
super. Thank you very much.
Else? Okay, we do not vote on this evening, and we'll go on to second reading.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of sand and gravel with Shelley Materials Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $26,980.
So moved.
Second?
And moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of sand and gravel with Enon Sand and Gravel LLC for an amount not to exceed $12,740.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the audience? From the commission? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of sand and gravel with Mechanicsburg Sand and Gravel Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $174,125.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of street materials with Shelley Materials Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $439,990.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for the purchase of street materials with A&B Asphalt Corporation for an amount not to exceed $538,230.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded.
I do have a question, and actually it relates to all the items, several that we've just approved. Obviously, all of this deals with streets, and a member of a citizen in our community asked me the other day, he'd attended a session that Chris had put on. I have a much better understanding of why some of the streets are cheaper to pave than others. And we just are in the process of spending a lot of money on streets. And I thought it would be timely if you could explain to us why some streets are a little simpler and a little less costly to do, and others it's substantial investment.
Yes, Commissioners. So when we look at these streets, some of them are at a place where you can just do a good maintenance, which is what we call a shave and pave or a mill and fill. We take off the top layer, put another layer back down, and that is around $460,000 a mile is what that worked out to.
Is that per mile, per block?
Per mile, $460,000 per mile. When they are a little further gone, we have to do a pulverization where we take about the first 18 inches of depth and mix it all up and stabilize it and then repave it. And that works out to about $801,000 per mile. And then some roadways get to the point where they're past the point of these measures, and we have to do a full-blown reconstruction where we dig everything up and put everything new back. And right now, we had been around the $3 to $3.5 million range per mile, but most recently with South Yellow Spring Street, it came in at $6.2 million per mile. So getting them early is a big, big deal. You can save a lot of money.
Thank you very much. Chris, roughly how many blocks is a mile? Just roughly, do you know?
If I guessed, I would be making a number up. I don't want to take a stab at that one live. I
Okay.
apologize.
Thank you.
The answer.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Dr. Estrell,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the issuance of a purchase order for the purchase of sodium polyphosphate, glassy sodium hexametaphosphate from George S. Coyne Chemical Company Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $78,780.46.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrell,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue, Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the purchase of one 900 ECO 12-yard mounted combination sewer cleaner from Brown Equipment Company for an amount not to exceed $506,748.08, plus trade-in credit of $100,000 for a net purchase amount not to exceed $406,748.38 through Sourcewell pursuant to the Sourcewell Contract Purchasing Cooperative Program in accordance with the provisions of Section 9.48 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
Yes, I was just wondering if you might tell us what this piece of equipment is going to do for us.
Specifically, it's our Vector truck, but Chris, if you want to talk a little bit about how this is a combination unit and what it replaces.
Yeah, so this is a combination sewer cleaner, so it can wash the sewer line with high-pressure water, and then it has a vacuum feature to suck out any debris that needs to come out. So it helps us do preventive maintenance or go out if there's a clog somewhere and take care of that. And this combo unit will actually be replacing two vehicles. We're trading in a 2016 and a 2014. One of them is a Vactor. One of them is a washer. So those will go away, and we will have one big combo unit.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrell,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Amending ordinance number 21-335, which authorized the purchase of one 2022 Ford Super Duty F-50 from National Auto Fleet Group for an amount not to exceed $63,277.64 through Sourcewell to revise the vehicle model year and purchase amount and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I assume we could not get an international vehicle that would match the size that we need. And secondly, I will once again say it's too bad we don't have a Ford dealership here in town. We continue to buy vehicles no local dealer.
Yes, you are correct, Commissioner, as far as the size of the vehicle is concerned. And what's happening here is we're finding with a lot of our vehicle purchases is we're being told that 22s are not available, even though we've made these purchases. And so they're shifting us or pushing us to 23s. Remains to be seen that we actually take possession of a 23 as well. But I will say this one was unique in the sense that we actually had a savings from switching to from a 22 to a 23 of $40.90. So
What's that name?
Wow. Does that make up for all the price hikes we've gotten on other vehicles?
Or chemical.
not even close.
What are our
even
plans for that
close.
$40, Katie? What are our plans for
Anyone
that
else?
$40?
What's that?
What are our plans for that $40?
It'll go to the significant increases that we continue to see in other areas.
That is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Dr. Estra,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into an employment incentive agreement with J&T LLC to incentivize establishing a food retail establishment located at 25 North Fountain Avenue to create employment and new investment in the city. Authorizing the city manager, finance director, and law director to do all things necessary to implement the said employment incentive agreement and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
Yes, I was wondering if you might tell us exactly all that's involved in this incentive agreement.
Yes, Commissioner. So this specific employment incentive agreement actually involves the tenant space at 25 North Fountain, which is the parking garage, the retail spaces. This is the former space occupied by Alkany Weavers, and it's going to be occupied by a new business, Champion City Pops, that will go in there. They intend to invest approximately $20,000 into the space, hire 4 full-time and 4 part-time employees, and this will result in a one-time payment of $4,500. We've been doing this to try to incentivize the retail. And actually with us tonight is the owner of that business, Tyson. If you'd like to say a few words and just talk a little bit about the business and explain what you plan to do there.
Could I say,
Good
first
evening,
of all,
Commissioners.
at the request of the clerk, she wanted me to communicate to those of you in the audience, there's a 3-minute limit to your comments. State your name and address for the record.
Tyson Urick, 3066 Goldfinch Bend, Springfield, Ohio, 45502. Before I start real quick, I'll keep it short, but Mr. Copeland, about 27 years ago, I sat in the same benches as those players with Springfield Catholic when you did the same proclamation. So kind of unique to be here tonight. But wanted to start by thanking each of you guys for the consideration. As an entrepreneur, grants like these obviously help dreams come true. So my wife and I started Champion City Pops during COVID. We were in a food truck / trailer for about 3 years. Opportunity for that space became available. In the interim, we had purchased a rolled ice cream machine, which if you guys haven't seen that, it's a flattened ice cream. Think of Cold Stone mixed up, but flattened and rolled. So we'll be doing rolled ice cream, bubble tea, which is tea with bubbles in it. That is kind of the craze now. And then of course our popsicles as well. So I'll be shut. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Great. Our commission retreat is March 22nd, Jill. So it'd be great to have some pops.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tyson. We're excited for
Thank
you
you.
to be done.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Dr. Estra,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of understanding by and among the city, Clark County Sheriff's Office, and Mental Health Recovery Board of Clark, Greene, and Madison counties in connection with the Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Site-Based Program Grant and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the procurement of new ammunition, SWAT gas munitions, and SWAT rifles for advanced law enforcement for an amount not to exceed $35,945.25, plus trade-in credit for certain court-ordered confiscated weapons in the amount of $31,715 for a net purchase amount not to exceed $4,230.25, with the ammunition and SWAT gas munitions being purchased through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services pursuant to Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Act in accordance with provisions of Section 125.04 of the Ohio Revised Code, and the SWAT rifles being purchased separately at their respective retail costs and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
Yeah, I'm wondering if you might explain, I'm a little confused about the language here. It sounds like we're swapping out some guns that were confiscated, getting credit for them, and then using that to buy weapons. Chief Elliott, can you help me out on that, please?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Commission. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor Copeland. I know the word and the language can be a little confusing there. Essentially, our court-ordered and confiscated weapons throughout the years, we have taken those, and Vance's Law Enforcement does a purchasing where they offer us funds for those to be turned over. So we are going to use that to purchase some of our necessary SWAT equipment, such as the rifles and the munitions.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good deal for us. Thank you.
Yes, they've been very generous.
Just a quick question.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
we, and I don't know, I'll just ask the question. Do we have like data to support Springfield's need for SWAT gear? Or like what do we use to determine how much we need and what we need?
Sure, that's a great question, Commissioner. So typically, we do look at the amount of call-outs and the number of call-outs that we do have. Again, I know SWAT can be a concerning acronym and it can be scary at times, but ultimately the goal for SWAT is to resolve matters peacefully. We have these kind of munitions and less lethal weapons that are also involved, again, to resolve it peacefully. And we do review that, the need for the call outs and how many we experience a year. We do definitely review that. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else?
It seems like about every other time you're up here, there's been something that's happened around the nation that has disgraced the police force and that community. And just want to thank you for your new leadership and just answering these things clearly. These are not things that we want or to buy. Unfortunately, the need does arise to make sure we have efficient weapons to protect our citizens and the law enforcement that's standing to protect us. But thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we appreciate so much the community support and understanding.
Thank you. Always being forthcoming with that information.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estra?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the acceptance of a donation from the Springfield Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association of a tactical pole system with the value of $11,957.25 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
Now let's speak to the opportunity to save lives. Allison,
Yeah,
you wanna
what
tell
is
us
a
about this?
tactical pole system?
Yes, sounds fancy, understand. So this system is kind of what it explains. It's tactical. It's a tactical camera system that allows, typically used on SWAT callouts for dangerous situations for our officers to be able to see in certain areas instead of putting somebody in a position or anybody involved essentially in a precarious position. It helps tactically and again to resolve it safely to attempt to locate somebody. I will say that over the years, about the last 20 plus years, I would say we have been using one specific pole camera system. It has been fantastic to us. However, it's kind of past its life. So the Citizens Police Alumni Academy has been very generous in their donation for this piece of equipment, and we thank them.
Well, we certainly appreciate the support of the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association and want to thank, I know I speak for everyone, want to thank them for their continuing support.
Me as well. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a letter of agreement and transfer of equipment with Clark County Emergency Management Agency for the acceptance of a donation of 70 Stop the Bleed kits with a total value of $4,200 and declaring an emergency therein.
I'll move.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience?
I was just curious. May
I
seem
was waiting for you to
obvious,
ask
but
that.
yeah, what, can you explain how these kits are used?
Yes, I stayed here because I'm here for it. Understood. So these are being donated through the EMA, again, graciously donated to our organization. They're a small kit that we can keep in our patrol vehicles and the vehicles that we are driving. It's a temporary assistance fix, essentially, like it says, Stop the Bleed. It has a tourniquet and some other first aid equipment that we can carry in our vehicles with us to help when we are first responders and maybe may not be have EMS on scene right away.
We certainly appreciate Clark County Emergency Management
Yes.
Agency providing these to
Absolutely.
our police officers.
Very grateful for their relationship and collaborative partnership.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue? Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the exercise of the city's option to renew the parking management agreement with Reef Parking, formerly known as Republic Parking System LLC, for downtown parking management services for an amount not to exceed $112,568 and declaring it an emergency therein.
I'll move.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
yes,
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the fiscal officer to create a super blanket purchase order as authorized in resolution number 6152 and declaring it an emergency therein.
so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes,
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Strongly urging the Ohio Governor and members of the Ohio General Assembly to restore the local government fund to pre-recession levels and declaring it an emergency therein.
so moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I think you and Kevin ought to speak to this because you know what it was like when we had the support of the governor and the General Assembly, Warren.
Well, it's pretty evident that they've got the money that they could do it, because they can do everything else they want to do. And I think that it was very painful when they first came up. After they finally decided that they were really going to do it and did it, it was painful. There's no question. And without the help, again, of the quarter percent, we wouldn't even probably be talking.
Without the local citizens,
That's right.
this city would have been in deep, deep financial trouble.
Well, we were in deep financial trouble, but without them, we would still be there.
Yeah,
I think it's sad that they're pulling this away from us. Not just us, but every other community in Ohio. And I'm a member of an organization of the mayors of, I think, the 40 largest cities in the state. And I know we have opposed this, but we haven't had any luck. The truth is that the people in leadership in the state legislature right now are from small towns, and they don't care about this stuff. Anybody else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
That's the end of the agenda item.
Are there any other items to come before us?
I was going to say two things. One, a very special birthday today. Warren, I think you may know whose birthday it is.
What?
I don't know, somebody put a big sign on our front yard. And it wasn't for me. I
Happy
think it was
birthday,
for that
Miss
woman I
Clara.
sleep with that night.
So happy birthday, Clara. So 80 years young.
Oh, wow, you fabulous.
Notice she's older than I am.
My dad does this to my mom too. It's like,
But
2
mind
months.
you, I
I'll
asked,
catch up with her in
yeah,
September, right?
but I asked Mayor Copeland how old he was and who did he have to ask? He had to ask Miss Clara about how old he was, so, and he was off by about 5 years.
She keeps track of everything for me.
There we go. So,
And then I was just going to say, I noticed a young gentleman out at the top of the audience, Mr. Sims, I believe, has been wanting to talk to every item, and he hasn't had a chance. So would you like to go to the mic and just introduce yourself?
wow. He's famous.
There you go.
Your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is Jason Sims, and I live on 1909 Michigan Avenue,
Okay, what school do you go to?
Snow Hill.
Okay. Do you have an aunt on the city commission?
You know it's you.
Wow. Thank you for coming, Trayson. Did you have any questions for anybody? One good question, that's all.
What does,
The mayor do, not a city.
yeah, what does the mayor do?
I couldn't hear you.
What does the mayor do?
What does the mayor do?
As little as he can get away with.
So,
The city manager runs the city, the mayor is just a figurehead and runs these meetings. That's about it.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
So be a city manager, not a mayor. You get to do
So
a lot
that's
more
what
things
city
if you're
manager
city
is.
manager. Okay?
thank you, Mr. Sims.
Wow,
Thanks for coming.
good for him.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Move we adjourn.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.